All right, ladies and gentlemen, hour number 2 of the Steve Malzberg Show. And just a moment, Ralph Peters is going to weigh in not only on Obama's new terror hostage policy, but I'm going to certainly ask him. He writes about the Civil War all the time, and of course, what's going on with the flag, who knows, maybe Amazon will ban all Civil War books going forward. But first, I don't want this to get lost. And of course, we have the Supreme Court decision today, 6-3 in favor of Obamacare. But yesterday, Obama held an event at the White House. It was a heckler. It's not important. I think it was a transgender heckler talking about immigration. That's not important. I just want you to get one more insight into the mind of Barack Obama, as if you need it. Listen to what he said to the heckler.
I've told you that the civil rights of LGBT Americans is... Yeah, hold on a second. Okay, you know what? No. Hey. Yeah, listen. You're in my house. Come on.
All right, I got news for President Obama, and I tried to start this hashtag yesterday. It's not your house. How dare he? You're in my house. Who the heck does he think he is? And unfortunately, that's a rhetorical question. Now let's welcome in Ralph Peters, the one and only, of course, Fox News strategic analyst and author of his latest, which is Valley of the Shadow, which is a novel. Ralph, welcome, sir.
Hey, Steve. Always great to speak with you.
Well, always great to talk to you. Let's start with the flag thing and the whole thing, because it dawned on me as I was sitting down here to start this hour that you're in a unique way a perfect person to talk to about what's going on with the flag and how Apple now won't allow any app to have to be of a Civil War game. So it's getting further and further, the reach of this whole thing, the reach of the aftermath of the shooting. What's your take on it?
Well, it's gone beyond the flag now. You have people calling for taking down the statues of Confederate generals in the South, and I had to establish my bona fides here. I had an ancestor in Union Blue, an immigrant and an abolitionist, who died as a result of his service in the Civil War, fighting against the South. My father was a man who integrated the trucking industry in the anthracite fields of Pennsylvania. I spent 22 years of my life in the most thoroughly integrated major institution of our country, the United States Army. But with all that behind me, I'm just disappointed, angry about this phony controversy about the Confederate battle flag. First of all, yes, I can see a reasonable compromise where we don't have it on state and government public grounds. However, when the National Park Service said, well, we're going to remove all sales of the Confederate flag or any Confederate flag symbols from the national park bookstores, well, it plays, this is the left attempting to rewrite our history, to erase the history they don't like and rewrite it by putting Harriet Tubman on the $20 bill. I mean, to me, as someone who studied the Civil War since childhood, literally for over half a century, I'm a Yankee, born and bred. I'll be a Yankee till I die. But I have come to admire enormously the valor and tenacity of the Confederate infantrymen. And let me tell you, the Confederate enlisted men did not have slaves. They fought for a wide variety of reasons, because it was their state, because their homes, because it seemed like a good idea at the time, because their friends were joining, because it was a chance to get away from a hard-scrabble life for a few years. It was much more complicated than just slavery, although slavery certainly lay at the heart of secession. And for many Southerners that I know, for all the Southerners I know, that Confederate battle flag is not a symbol of racism. It doesn't stand for returning people to slavery. It stands for the courage of their ancestors. They are proud of the fight their ancestors put up, and it was one hell of a fight. It was just the Confederate infantry in the Army of Northern Virginia may have been the finest light infantry in the world. And I don't think people, when they have that flag maybe on the back of their pickup truck or something, I don't think they're trying to send a message to African Americans. I think they're proud of their ancestors who served. And down here where I live now in Virginia, people tend the graveyards of the Confederate dead. They remember the family members, and the South suffered demographically far worse than the Union did. So to me, that Confederate battle flag, while I would not fly it myself, I would not have it on my vehicle or home, nonetheless, I do not see it as an emblem of slavery. I see it, the battle flag specifically, I see it as an emblem of the valor of my fellow countrymen in difficult times, and I have no problem with people paying respects to their valiant ancestors, apart from whether you like their cause or not. Those were brave, brave men. And, at the end of the war, Abraham Lincoln told Grant and his other generals, he said, let them up easy. What he meant was, don't humiliate them. We've won the war. You don't have to humiliate them now. But for the American left, this whole flag brouhaha, and now the calls to take down this Confederate statues in the South, rob them of heroes. What it is, it's about humiliating Southern whites. It's not about racial healing. It's about dividing people more. It's about gloating, and it's hurting. And when I hear, well, the Confederate flag is hurtful, well, yes, it may well be to somebody. But it's also hurtful to tell people that their ancestors were all criminals. And so I just think the left is absolutely out of control with trying to rewrite history. And, this isn't Martin Luther King. This is Joseph Stalin.
That's very astute take on this, Ralph. Very eloquently put. Thank you for that. I appreciate it. Now let's, in the time we have left, let's talk about this policy on negotiating with terrorist groups to get hostages back. Am I missing something, or is this going to put an X on the backs of Americans abroad and maybe Americans here at home at the hands of gangs and drug cartels, etc., who now know that the United States will sanction the ransom?
Well, Steve, this is one of the rare times when you and I might diverge a little bit. I don't have a problem with the change for several reasons. One, to make it illegal for hostage families to do all they can to get their loved ones back, it's unrealistic, because we weren't going to prosecute those families if they paid a ransom to get their brother or sister or husband or son or daughter back. It was a false policy to begin with. But the other thing is, it was already I don't think our government should ever pay ransoms. Never. But Obama already compromised that. He paid an enormous ransom. 5 Taliban chieftains to get a deserter, Bo Bergdahl, back. So the president had already undermined the policy. In fact, I'm encouraged by the fact that he's saying the government won't pay ransoms. So this is just not something I'm going to get overly excited about. This administration has done so much damage in so many ways that this just seems like a minor affair to me.
And just one, we got less than a minute. Well, actually, yeah, we got about a minute and a half. The White House said, I don't know if it was a slip of the tongue or whatever, that we have more than 30 Americans held hostage abroad, and officially we're only aware of a handful. Is this surprising to you? Can you reconcile that?
No, I have no trouble believing it, because one of the things we do, and it's actually a smart policy, is we don't publicize hostage takings. Now, the media may publicize them, but it does real harm. The best way to get a hostage back is to keep it quiet and deal with it behind the scenes.
Gotcha. Ralph, I misspoke, Ralph. I miscalculated on time. I thank you for that answer. I thought we had more time than we do. Thank you so much, my friend. Pleasure to talk to you.
Steve.
Take care. Ralph Peters, ladies and gentlemen.